Good evening and welcome to Sporlitiks, where sports and politics mix and mingle. And we have been doing this since 2011. I'm Staci Johnson. Joining me tonight is Ogunna, the voice of reason, Keith, the constitutional conservative, Stephen, the independent thinker, and my cousin Todd. We have a packed.
We don't hear Staci.
You can't hear me?
I can. I hear you.
Okay. We have a
How you
packed
doing, Stephen?
show for you tonight. The Senate remains divided over the SAVE Act. Stephen will talk about NASCAR, and the House Republicans they moved to the side for a proposal to split up the DHS, Department of Homeland Security bill, despite openness from President Trump. NCAA men's tournament. Is your bracket busted? The Sweet 16 will begin this coming weekend. Pakistan says they can broker talks between the United States and Iran. A new bill targets a sports prediction market and what they are and why some of them can be banned. Mark Wayne Mullen has been confirmed by the United States Senate as Secretary of Homeland Security as ICE agents go to airports throughout the country and do what they do. Stephen wants to talk again about Joe Kent resigning over the Iran war. We will talk about that as the gas and diesel prices per gallon rise. Former New Jersey Governor Christie on President Trump's response to Mueller's death. This is what a child does, he says. Florida Democrats hope that today, in a special election, they will flip a state legislative district that includes Mar-a-Lago. That and more, if we can fit it in. First up, let's look. Let me share my screen so we can look at NASCAR and have Stephen talk to us about what's going on with that.
Gordy, for a lot of years, the NCAA tournament wasn't that much fun for Illinois fans. Some years they would miss it. And then when...
Sorry. Let me go back. Here we go.
Hey, let's head to the PD for the third race of what has been a NASCAR triple header this weekend at the Darlington Raceway. The Truck Series raced on Friday, the O'Reilly Series on Saturday, and then the Goodyear 400 capping off the weekend. Intense action on the track. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. driving the number 47 Chevy. A tough day for the 47 team. Ricky finished a couple of laps down in the 29th position. However, the Jack Links paint scheme was easy to spot amongst his competitors. Hey, there's Marshall McFadden, former South Carolina State linebacker, a native of Lamar. So Marshall back in the PD. He's a longtime Jack man in the Cup Series, and this year he is on the 97 pit crew for Trackhouse Racing and driver Shane Van Gisbergen. And SVG brings his WeatherTech Chevy home in 14th place, so a solid top 15 run for that team, helped by some outstanding work on pit road. There's Marshall with the Jack and his guys working as one cohesive unit. So a solid day in the PD for the number 97 team.
Yeah. I love seeing the pit crews when they come in like that.
Yeah,
they're really efficient. I mean, everybody has this one job. They got it down to a science, a perfect process. It's really amazing how they get the cars in and out so quickly.
And I remember telling Todd I wanted his nephews to do it, and he told me, why don't you get your mother to do it?
I remember that. You've been telling him that for over a decade.
Yeah, and those kids are now really old. They're probably too old to do it now. But, Stephen, you want to talk about Darlington?
Well, yeah, Darlington is a great race. Oh, my goodness. But we have something huge that happened on this race. I looked forward to it. It was good. But Tyler Reddick ended up on the pole. And, you know, he's with Michael Jordan and Denny Hamlin's team. Ah, well, there's been 6 races this year. Guess who
I
won
don't
this
know.
race? And to make it
It sure
the
seems that way. It
hey,
doesn't.
wait a minute, Keith. Keith, we can hear you. All right, can y'all hear me? All right.
Yeah, there's trouble in paradise.
So what we have is Tyler Reddick has won his 4th out of 6 races. It's only been 6 races this year. Tyler Reddick has won 4, and Michael Jordan is his owner along with Denny Hamlin. So I was talking to this guru today at work. She's a booze fighter girl. She's really good, long time NASCAR fan. She said, "Well, I said, how can they win 4 races? These cars are. I'll tell you." I said, how can they win these all 4 out of 6 races? She said, well, they have Michael Jordan, and he's one of the owners, and he's super rich. He's like almost a trillionaire. And I was like, they can't put any more money in the car. All these cars are just alike. They run just alike. There's no way that somebody's going to run away with this and win all these multiple different kinds of configured tracks. And she said, no, he's got a lot of money. I said, oh, gambling. And then he's giving them money and then he's gambling. Something is weird here. I don't get it.
Oh, my gosh.
Because in the back, let me tell you, back in the 70s, 80s, mostly in the 70s, we had Richard Petty. And he won so many races because he had a big block, huge. He had stuff that nobody else had. And he had a wing on the back of his car. He could win four out of 6 races, like falling out of bed. Well, but for the last few decades that follow, they make these cars completely competitive. They are boxes, and there's nothing you can do differently. You have to race the car, especially you got to do things with gas. You got to do things in the pits. You got to be real strategic because these cars are exactly the same. So it's impossible for a car to win 4 out of 6 times. It's absolutely impossible unless they're getting help. Now, there was a lawsuit over the summer, and they had a big grievance with Michael Jordan and Hamlin had a big grievance. Well, they won, and we don't know what's going on. It's pure speculation on my part.
Yes,
I'm just saying it is. It's pure speculation. But what I'm saying is it's so weird. It's like the Eagles going out next year and they win by 60-0, and then they win 60-0 the next week. It's like it doesn't happen this way.
Okay, let me help you.
Thank you. I needed some help.
I know. I'll help you. It could be weird, just like you and Keith are just like this for so many years, and all of a sudden, me and Keith
are brothers. No disagreement's going to take the love that Keith and I have of each other away from each other, man. Okay. No, man. Keith's a good man.
Look at
Keith's a good man. We can disagree. We can all disagree.
Iowa in the Sweet 16 with a trip to the Elite 8 on the line. This matchup does come as a bit of a surprise. Last night, the Hawkeyes defeated 1-seed Florida during a back-and-forth game in Tampa. This sets up one of the most intriguing matchups of the tournament. Not only are the two schools rivals, but both are in somewhat unfamiliar territory. Of course, Nebraska playing in the Sweet 16 for the very first time, but Iowa has not made round 3 since 1999.
These first 2 games in the NCAA tournament were very emotional. Like getting that first tourney win, it's just like all of these games are emotional. So, yes, with the rivalry game, there's a little bit extra, but we've played in some very high pressure and emotional games so far this year already.
Oof, should be a lot of fun. Thursday's Sweet 16 matchup will tip off at 6:30 in Houston. If you are not making the trip south, Thursday's game will be broadcast on TBS or True TV. We will have full live coverage from Houston starting tomorrow. 10-11's Kevin Stutz and Brandon Muting both making the trip for Nebraska's historic push towards the Final Four.
All right, Ogunna.
Ogunna, my eyeball. The thing I don't understand is just because these boys turn 16, why do they have to they're in college now. Why do they have Sweet 16 parties and stuff like that? I don't understand it. But you know what? To each his own. When you're into hockey, you just go for it, I guess.
Yeah, it has something to do with Epstein.
You see where he turned that? We can't hear you, Ogunna. But do you see what this idiot just turned that?
Well, this idiot, you just did what you did. It was no more idiotic than what you just said. All I did was put a cherry on top of your idiocy.
No, that was cruel. That was crude and cruel. Now, I didn't say, I was just making a joke about 16
What happened to
and then
Ogunna,
Sweet
Staci?
16. Would you
All right,
shut
Ogunna,
up?
please. Hey, save us. Ogunna, save us.
I was just saying,
Yeah,
making a joke,
I'm
but you
here.
took it ugly. And you know
All right.
you did. Didn't
This
he?
little quarrel,
Ogunna?
Steven and Todd have their quarrel. Yeah, it's March Madness. I didn't fill out my bracket, but it's interesting. We still have 2 number 1, seeds in it, so that's good. You got this Texas and Purdue matchup coming up, which is kind of interesting because Texas is probably the biggest Cinderella team that's not really a Cinderella team because they're still a pretty strong program in the SEC. And I think UConn is still in it as well as a number 2 seed. So you got a couple 1s, got a couple 2s. So, yeah, early on there were some upsets in the brackets, I think with High Point and a couple of others.
And like we said, the Nebraska.
But really the brackets aren't really as busted as you might think because you still have a lot of number 1s and number 2s getting through. So you got two number 1s, 2 number 2s. So people are still in it, even though early on there may have been some issues. There were some close calls. Like, Kansas almost lost to something Baptist, CA Baptist or something like that. There were some really close games early on, which speaks to the portal and how a lot of the programs can level set their talent. But the bigs still have the money. So even though you get, some
get like Prairie View, which is at HBCU.
Yeah, they were their first one, I think, in the playing game, I think. So yeah, so you had some really good games, had some really close games, but yeah, I think that we'll see what Duke in this Duke St. John's game. I think going one of those teams definitely is going to be in the finals. I think coming out of that particular bracket. So we'll see, but it's still early, still fun.
It's still fun. It's still early. Steven, you know a little bit about college basketball. Did you want to comment?
Well, yeah. Well, on that game, I would definitely take Duke to win. I mean, it could go either way, but I would take Duke, and I like Arizona. I had them winning it all, so I'm in the running right now. I still feel pretty good. Feel bad for some of my friends. They were riding. One of my good friends was riding UVA pretty hard, and that didn't work out. They started out third.
There's 3 1s still in it.
Right.
So it's like, so you still have 3 1s. So that's, I think Florida's the only one that lost, and I think they only lost by 1 point. So yeah, Iowa got away with that one.
So for cousin Todd, when Ogunna said
I didn't know. I didn't know that
Ogunna said
that's
there
right.
are 3 1s. What he meant, cousin Todd, was that
I don't know what you said. Say that again.
I said when Ogunna said there are 3 1s still in the tournament.
Yeah,
it was there.
I know what he meant. Baseball, hockey, and
there are 3
tennis.
There are 3 teams that are rated 1 in their particular division.
Oh my gosh!
I know you didn't.
I know what he means. He's talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers. Hello, the Flyers, and the Dolphins. Duh.
Wait. All right. Anyone else for any sports before I move on to politics?
No, I have one question. Stephen, did you dye your hair?
Yeah, there was a guy that was playing pickleball that died. Y'all hear about him?
Yeah,
he was a guy.
Charlie Kirk's mentor.
Charlie Kirk's.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was was it OnlyFans guy?
I don't know.
You heard about the OnlyFans? I think it was the same guy, wasn't it?
I don't know.
Todd, I've never dyed my hair. I've never put any chemicals on my hair or anything like that. If that was to answer your question, thank you.
We couldn't tell about Todd because Ogunna. I'm surprised you didn't say anything about Todd's headwear.
I'm getting there.
That's from the Aunt Your Mama collection.
It's Versace. It's the Versace men's scarf collection.
I can't. I can't. And did you hear this crook talking about Aunt Your Mama?
Yeah, that's from the Aunt Your Mama collection.
All right, thank you.
Thank
you. Partial government shutdown as Lincoln security lines at airports across the country caused travel chaos. It was 3 hours and 45 minutes. So missed our flights. We're stuck trying to figure out what are we going to do now, trying to get another flight to our luggage is there, but we're not.
TSA security officers are sleeping in their cars now, afraid to call in sick and often relying on food donations as they're forced to work without pay. John Hubert is a TSA security officer at Miami International and the local union president and a father of 2 young boys. He's doing everything he can to help his TSA colleagues by organizing food donation drives. And John Hubert joins me now for more on this. John, I appreciate your time here. And look, I mean, I know you're a father yourself. You've got a 6 and an 8-year-old, Zion and Zane. How has a shutdown impacted you?
Dramatically. Obviously, we have to think about aftercare and being able to pay the daycare and all this kind of stuff for our children. And it's really difficult to be able to juggle that at the same time having to go back to work and take care of the traveling public. This is a bad situation for the TSA workforce.
Yeah, well, and the other thing, we know that a lot of TSA workers got their first zeroed out paycheck this past week. You got spring break, which is coming up, and also April 1st, right around the corner. I mean, so what are you hearing from your colleagues that are worried about paying rent?
Well, you know, a lot of the officers right now, they're extremely stressed out. They're calling me, asking me for assistance, as much help as the union can do for them. But still, we can only do but so much. You know, Congress needs to hurry up and get us paid.
Yeah. Well, and so talk to us about why and how you started this food drive to help your colleagues.
Well, basically, I felt that as a union president, I need to be able to assist the workforce immediately. What we've been doing so far is hitting every single airport by providing food, lunch, anything that we could possibly, gift cards, gas cards, things like that. You know, just to ease the pressure a little bit, because coming to work every day is a decision now. You know, it's not like I was before. A lot of things that are happening right now, we don't have to deal with on a regular basis. Now we have to make concessions. Fill our gas tank up, don't pay this bill, you know. So the gas bill, you know, all of the things are starting to compile at this point, you know, so it's almost a breaking point.
Yeah, well, and listen, there was a shutdown last year, that record 43-day long one. But I'm curious, how is this go around different than the first shutdown?
Well, you know, the creditors are not as forgiving for, you know, because we had like a letter that the agency would supply to us to be able to submit to them to let them know that we're in a furlough and we're not being paid. But the creditors are not even paying attention to those notices anymore. So the eviction notices are coming out. People's cars are being repoed. You know, these things are not, I guess it's because it's a partial shutdown and not every single agency is affected. It's only a short few, so not a lot of people know about it, which ironically enough, we've been trying to get the word out there as much as possible that the TSA is not getting paid. A lot of people in America don't know that the officers are operating with no pay, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I'm curious. I mean, what is your biggest fear at this point?
My biggest fear is putting these officers in a tough situation while we have to concentrate on the job of security and securing the national skies. Because really, TSA has been successful in preventing any terrorist acts on the airplane, in the airport, anywhere, and we've been 100% successful in doing that. But we cannot be distracted by all of these things, not being able to pay our bills. It's hard to sleep sometimes because you think about, man, I got to pay this bill. I don't know how I'm going to be able to pay it. You know, maybe I could depend on family. You know, maybe I could depend on some friends, you know, but it's not going to last forever. You know, the stress points are like being broken every single day. You have to make a choice every day when you have to come into work.
Yeah, and certainly it's even compounded by the fact of going to work and knowing that you're not necessarily going to receive a paycheck. John Hubert, I appreciate your time.
I got something to say about that, Staci.
It's terrible. Yeah, okay. I do too.
So, go ahead.
Yeah, you know, I find it very, I'm not going to say fascinating, but it's kind of interesting. I used to work for TSA, but I find it very interesting that judges have shut down a lot of what Trump has tried to do. In other words, they came out and said, oh, you can't do this. It's unconstitutional. But here, Congress has done this and no reaction from judges. Okay, Congress has the power of the purse. I understand that. But Trump has the power of the executive, meaning that he can deal with situations in law enforcement. And yet judges have shut him down on every turn. Yet no judge has come out yet, or no Supreme Court ruling has come out and said, "Hey, you got to pay these people, so they can take care of their." I mean, that's
Are
only
you talking
just and
about
right. That's
when you're
a
disappearing people
civil
on the
rights issue.
streets?
I mean, it's a civil
Yeah,
rights issue. And
you
then on
can't
number
disappear
two, and
people.
I'm almost done. And number two, TSA and ICE, they're doing this because they want to shut down ICE, and that's quite obvious. I think that to
Well, they
me
don't want
sounds
ICE
like,
killing innocent people.
okay,
All
well,
right, thank
If you call
whatever
that
you say.
shut
So,
down
But the
ICE.
point is, I'm just saying, I pointed out what I
Well,
thought was kind of interesting.
why would the Supreme Court get involved with? Why is this a civil rights issue?
Well, why
It's
would the
not.
Supreme Court get involved with the president shutting
You're
down,
trying to compare
killing
apples
ICE?
to oranges.
No, I'm not comparing.
Congress has
This
the
is a
power
fair
of the purse.
comparison.
Congress decides who and what gets funded. You, as a
Yes, and the
constitutional
president
conservative, do
decides
not want.
law
Yeah,
enforcement,
let me finish.
enforcement of the border.
You shouldn't want the executive branch to be making decisions of budgetary. It's Congress's job to do what they're doing.
Right.
So I
I
mean, for
understand
Trump to step in, he did step in. He sent ICE into these airports, but it's not. Why would you want the judicial branch to make a determination when
Well,
it
I'm
comes
only
to
you
the
see, you
legislative
missed the
branch to be
point.
doing?
I don't know if you missed it purposely or not, but if you're
No, I didn't.
intelligent enough to
I think you're
understand,
trying to compare
my
two
point
different things.
was, listen, my point was the president has certain powers and Congress has certain powers. The
Based on what the
judges
Constitution,
hold
correct?
on. The judges stepped in many times and interrupted
They
the
have powers
president what
too.
he
Because
has
they said it wasn't
constitutionally able to do.
constitutional.
But the judges never
Because they
jumped
said
in
it
on
wasn't
this.
constitutional.
And also, by the way, Elon Musk has offered to pay them. I guess that's not constitutional or legal, but I thought
You're
that
all
was a
over the
pretty good
place.
gesture.
He's just talking.
Focus on the subject
He's
that you're
just
trying to
talking.
make. The judges said that the executive branch is beyond their power as the executive branch, so it's non-constitutional. The Constitution does not allow the executive branch to do X, Y, and Z.
No matter who the president is.
No matter who the president is, so that's fine. So when it comes to funding the Department of Homeland Security, Congress should do it. Congress should be debating that and determining when they should do it. So
right, and
why would you want the judicial branch?
All right, so the Democrats are doing it.
You don't want the judges to determine the law. They don't make laws. They determine the constitutionality of law.
Okay.
They're saying
All
that
right.
it's not the executive branch's constitutional power.
Let's identify it like it is. It's the Democrats who are holding it up. So there you
go. No, it's not.
Right.
It's not the Democrats holding it up.
Yes,
it's Congress doing its job.
It's Democrats.
And what are the Democrats saying?
The Senate.
They're saying that ICE,
you're not being honest. You're not being truthful here.
Should be accountable based on.
Stephen, you got to help me out. He's not being truthful.
They should be accountable for
their
actions.
He's not being truthful.
We just want some oversight of ICE. That's what they're debating, right?
Yeah, but you're not being truthful here.
And I am being true. Whether you like it or not, if you claim that you're a constitutional conservative, you should appreciate the fact that Democrats get a vote too. That's called a democracy, a representative democracy, right? They get a vote too. So you got the compromise because they have a vote.
Okay, let's watch.
Same thing with Republicans. They did the same thing with Republicans when they were in the minority.
What is your name? Where's your badge number?
The video has gone viral. A woman who the Department of Homeland Security identified as Guatemalan Angelina Lopez Jimenez being handcuffed by two men. That's when Andre Ivanov started rolling on his cell phone.
The ICE agents didn't have any identification on. They didn't have any kind of badge on. They looked just two guys with little backpacks.
Although they were not wearing any department insignias, DHS says they were ICE officers transporting a woman and her child to an airplane. The immigrant rights group Siren tells me the family is from Sacramento.
We don't need ICE or Border Patrol or any of these other thugs in our city and our airport.
Today, State Senator Scott Wiener stood outside SFO to denounce the arrests.
It was just horrible with a child there.
Yeah.
It reminds me of what we saw in Minnesota with Liam Cornejo, that young kid with the bunny hat on.
But DHS says the family had a 2019 final order of removal, and while they were being escorted at the airport for processing, Jimenez attempted to escape and resisted the federal officers.
She didn't want to go, and she tried to grab onto the seat next to her, and they forcibly put her into that wheelchair.
Video also shows San Francisco police officers observing the arrest.
It appears that SFPD were there to maintain order in the airport, and they are always in a very, very difficult position when you have ICE doing the things that it does.
We need to see your badge number.
Tonight, tensions remain high at airports across the country.
This is an illegal arrest. Show the badge number.
So that the Jimenez family did, in the end, board that plane and should be in Guatemala by now. We're live at SFO. I'm Damian Trujillo, NBC Bay Area News.
Okay, so that was very emotional.
Yeah.
How come they don't want ID for voting then, if they were so concerned about ID for law enforcement officers?
So that,
To prove that they are law enforcement.
that is very emotional, and it's very
Not insane.
it's very, very
Apples and oranges again. I'm getting hungry.
I don't know. Are you desperate or something, Keith? Are you desperate? To prove a
No,
point?
I'm making some
You're
very good
talking about
comparisons,
law
aren't I,
enforcement.
Elizabeth?
Can you all not hear me?
My wife agrees
Yeah.
with me on that one.
Yeah, we can hear you. You were
Okay. I was talking
about
and they just
it's
talked over me like
unfair.
I wasn't even talking.
Yeah, well, you were just saying how horrible that
And
looked.
how horrible that is.
Yeah,
And my point is, we can
Mhm.
spend money. How is it the federal government can spend money on ICE officers and pay the ICE officers to do those things while the TSA officers don't receive any money, and then they spend $1 billion a day on a war, and they've laid people off, and people don't have health insurance? They could pay for everyone's health insurance. Do you want to comment on that, Stephen?
Yeah, that was you. Everybody's taking every one of my points except my last point. You just took that point away from me. How can they pay ICE in general to go, and then they put them in the airport, but they can't pay TSA? Keep ICE out of the airport and just pay the TSA. That seems logical to me, because you know what? They're not deporting anybody. They're not deporting anybody if they're working at the airport. And what can they do? They don't even know the job. They're not doing anything but standing there. They're not doing the job that TSA would do. They're just basically standing there. But and then somebody else, wait a minute, really quick. Somebody brought up that Keith said Elon could do it, but that goes against some of the standards or whatever. But that was one of the points too. Why can't the professional owners of teams, football, baseball, basketball, why can't they pay them? Why can't Elon pay them? Why can't Buffett pay them? Why can't they start a GoFundMe? Why can't they get around it, pay these people so they'll come do the work, and then when they get the thing back together? Because these people that are in the airports that are waiting 8-10 hours, they go to games. They're paying into the system. They're paying $1,000 to go see Philadelphia win a game. Just things like that. Why can't they do that? Why do the people always have to suffer? Why do the people have to suffer when we have people that are trillionaires that can say, oh, I see you people suffering. We don't want you to suffer in the airport. We don't want people at the job suffering. We can give you some damn money. What is wrong with that?
Okay,
just do some GoFundMe. It wouldn't hurt them financially.
It sounds good, right? So if let's say Elon Musk decides to gift each individual TSA worker up to 15 grand or something like that, I think he can do that up to 15 grand and
Anything.
not get taxed, or it could be a gift.
Oh, yeah.
He can do that if he wants to. There's nothing stopping
But why
him.
doesn't he? Because they don't give a damn about us.
Now, the only question I would have is, if they do that, I mean, what are they getting in return? Because again, you're talking about these companies and billionaire owners and all this stuff. They can do it if they want to. There's nothing stopping them from the tax code perspective, right?
It looks all right, but it looks good. It looks good for them, and it's good PR for them. It makes them look like good people, philanthropists.
They'd have to gift the individual. They could not fund TSA as a private entity, though.
Right, I understand that, but I'm saying there's a way around things.
But that's what I'm saying. So all the stuff you're saying sounds great, and there's nothing stopping them from doing that on an individual basis. But to say Elon Musk comes in there and like SpaceX, he just wants to fund this private entity in the government, that is against the law. You can't
Right, I understand that, but there's ways around things to help everyday people out. That's
But
all I'm saying.
nobody's stopping them. Nobody's stopping them. Just
Right.
like they want to pay more taxes. There's nothing.
Maybe somebody should suggest it to them. That would be a nice thing to do.
No, Elon Musk did say that he wouldn't have a problem helping out the TSA workers.
Right on. That's cool. That's cool.
And then he can do it. He's saying that just
stopping him,
because
right.
it sounds good. Because if he wanted to do it, he could just say, "Hey, give me a list of all the TSA employees,"
right, and not say a word.
But maybe he will do it. I don't know.
Okay. Now, people have all these bright ideas like Stephen. I have an idea. Stephen, have you taken care of any TSA agents with all the money you keep winning on betting on these games and car races and such? So why don't you take 2 or 3 of those TSA agents and pay them some of your winnings? Oh, okay. You can tell Elon Musk what to do with his money, but you won't do
because he's a trillionaire.
I don't
and
care.
I am trying to get by every day.
Thousandaire. And you're a
I'm a multiple thousandaire. Yeah, but he's a trillionaire. I'm just saying, if you got $1 trillion and you're the big man in the world, why don't you just say? And you know what? A lot of people are burning down his businesses and burning his cars. It'll make people like you more. It's just like you're a good guy.
Todd's point is, you sound like a liberal telling people what to do with their money.
And I'm not telling anybody. I'm just saying it would look good for them. They don't have to do it. I'm not saying you better do.
Go ahead, cousin Todd.
I can't get a word in it. He can't even hear himself.
Then don't even bring my name up if you don't want to hear my voice.
Yes, I will. Because you're bringing Elon Musk's name into it. So everybody can do a little something. You can do a little something, but you don't do it. You just scream at Elon Musk. So
Todd, I do as much as I can do for everybody. I do as much as I can do for everybody. Like Jesus said, if that's your last dollar, then that's what you gave. That's better than a billionaire that gave $1 million. My $1 that I had left is better than a trillionaire that gave $1 million.
Well, look like to me, I thought
checkmate, brother.
I thought you were winning every day. Well, y'all should bet on
no. Hey, you ain't hurt. No, I don't. I won with Tolerytic. I won with
Since the
Tolerytic.
pandemic of 2020, most of us have used our mailboxes as ballot boxes. Voting by mail has become the most popular way to cast a ballot in Nevada. As long as your ballot is postmarked by Election Day, it can be received up to 4 days later and still be counted. But under an argument heard by the U.S. Supreme Court on Monday, those rules may change. And your ballot will have to be turned in by Election Day, or it may not be counted at all. Justices heard a case from Mississippi, which, like Nevada and 28 other states, allows ballots to be counted after Election Day, provided they were mailed by Election Day. But the Republican National Committee argued ballots must be received by elections officials no later than Election Day under the U.S. Constitution. Nevada Secretary of State Cisco Aguilar attended the arguments in person and tells me the controversy concerns a very small number of votes.
You know, we really have to understand that less than 1.8% of mail ballots arrive after Election Day, and 95% of that 1.8% are received by the county clerks within 24 hours. So the fact that there are these large amount of ballots arriving days and days after the election is just not true. And none of that data was discussed during the hearing today to say how many voters this is actually implicated.
Some of the court's liberal justices noted that Congress has been aware states count ballots that arrive after Election Day and has not changed the law to ban the practice. Aguilar says mail-in voting is popular in Nevada's rural communities where voters may face long drives to a polling place, but where Republicans, such as President Donald Trump, usually win. In the Nevada legislature, Republican senators, including John Steinbeck of Clark County, unsuccessfully brought a bill in 2025 to move the ballot deadline up, so all votes would be in by Election Day. He tells me constituents want it that way.
And I believe it's the sentiment of the people. I think more people want that. They want trust in their election process. They want voter ID. They want to know that their vote counts, and then let the election lay where it may, right? Whether it's their person that won or if there are more people that voted against them, at least if they feel the confidence in the system,
A ruling on today's case isn't expected until the summer, but depending on how the court rules, there could be a big effect on Nevada elections. Either way, Election Day, November 3rd, is an important deadline, so mark your calendars now. Reporting in Las Vegas, I'm Steve Sebelius.
All right.
Okay. Can I say
see the
this?
court?
Wait a
See,
minute,
the
I
court's got a rule on that law.
Excuse me. I want to show this comment from a viewer. What does that say? Pretty ironic that members of the NTSB had trouble getting to the accident site because of the long lines created by TSA situation. Oh, that's
Right.
interesting.
Yeah, I saw that earlier.
Those long
Wow.
lines are created by the Democrats not paying.
Okay, let me say this while we were still on this topic. While we were on the topic of the Supreme Court, Donald Trump has made low information voters think that voter fraud is running rampant.
It is.
Now, I don't know if Stephen still agrees with that or not, but I'm not going to use Stephen. I'm only going to use Keith. He said it is. Do you know the number of voter fraud cases? Okay. Do you want to know the number? I'll be happy to tell you.
Oh,
It
yeah.
is.
Where
Here
do
we
you get
go.
this information?
Here we go. 0.0003.
Oh, and where did you get this information?
The government.
Well, trust the government. Trust the government. They got your back.
I mean, even the Heritage Foundation has done studies to show that voter fraud is almost non-existent. You're looking for a problem you're chasing a problem that's not there. You're costing American taxpayers money and even trying to come up with.
Republicans came up with these numbers, Stephen.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you. It's no voter fraud.
I don't think it's the U.S.
I don't think there's voter fraud.
Voting difficult. It shouldn't be. I mean, this is a civil rights issue. You should not make voting difficult for the citizens of this country.
I don't think there's any voter fraud.
We have the technology. You can mail in votes. You can do all these different things, and it's on the purview of the government to decide citizenship and all that stuff.
That's right. Now let me hear.
You shouldn't be putting on the citizens because we have so much technology now that we can clearly figure it out.
Problem.
Right. Well, Ogunna, it sounds like the courts are going to decide. He just said it on the.
Are you saying, "Oh, I don't believe those numbers because I don't believe the government," and then you said, "Yeah, I believe it. It's no voter fraud." What are you talking about?
And the court is doing what it's supposed to do: decide on the constitutionality of certain laws. And so, if the executive branch, through executive order, is saying, "Hey, we want to put in these erroneous voter ID requirements that we don't need," I mean, why not say, "Hey, that's the reason why we had the Civil Rights Voting Act."
Staci is going.
You're sitting there
about that,
and then if you listen to the report, it's impacting Nevada Republican-leaning voters. So you're cutting off your nose to spite your face because you're mailing in. What's the difference between me deciding to mail in a voting, knowing that I am a registered voter, I'm mailing in a ballot. By the way, the President Trump he uses mail-in voting to vote. He mailed in his ballot, right? So you mail in your ballot and it arrives after election day because of what to do with that. Why not count it?
You just said the president just did this. He just did it. But I want to go to Stephen, Two-Face Stephen. You just said, "Oh, you believe the government?" And then you said, "There is no fraud."
Yeah, I said, "You really believe your government tells you the truth?" And I said, "Yeah, there is no voter fraud." And because the government will install whoever they want at the time for the president. That's what I believe. I don't think there's voter fraud. I think we get whoever they want us to have. Local elections matter. That's why local elections matter with you and in your life. But I think when you get on the federal level, it doesn't make any difference. So
in other words, it's like saying when you said they're going to appoint whoever they want. So if I, for instance, make sandwiches in Subway, the president can appoint me to be Surgeon General.
Oh, no. I'm saying they're going to put whatever president they want at the time. If they want Joe Biden, if they want Donald Trump, if they want to divide us more, if they want to do this, do that, They're gonna do whatever's more advantageous of the people who run the world. It's not our country. The president ain't nothing but a puppet. That's all he is.
All right.
Donald Trump is a puppet. If you don't think Donald Trump's a puppet, he said, "I will not take you to war 150 million times," and all of his cabinet said, "I will not take you into a war." But he did. He's a puppet.
Thank you.
All right. Now,
no, Todd, wait a minute. I want to see. Paper Doll said, "I think if Obama were in office and the airline industry was plagued with increased near misses, actual collisions, ATC issues, there would be an uproar."
That's exactly right. But to finish on that point we were on, Staci, you have to talk about this voter fraud thing because we just said it's non-existent. And who does it affect, Staci? This ID. I want you to have identification. See,
Identification.
you have to have, that means your driver's license as well as a passport and or a birth certificate.
So, for example, what Todd is saying. So, for example, if it were me going to vote and I were married and my ID had my maiden name on it and not my married name, then I'd have to prove. Or if I had my married name, I went to vote and said my married name, they say, well, no, your information says this name. I have to prove that I am married. I'm not married, but if I were.
So now go back home and find your birth certificate, or do you have your passports, Keith or Stephen? Of course you don't, because you don't travel like that. So you have to go get a passport.
I don't travel. Wait a minute. I was going. I don't travel like what, Todd? What do you mean?
Out of this country.
How do you know? You don't know my. You don't know what I did.
Disproportionately impacts women. Correct.
Exactly. That was my point.
And at the root of it, the burden of proof of citizenship should be on the government, not on the individual citizen at the time of voting. Right. And then what I mean by that is when I register to vote, I'm already proving that I'm a citizen. So when I'm going to vote, I shouldn't have to prove that I'm a citizen. The burden should be on the government to do that. Right. And we have the technology to do so. If you're saying the burden is on the citizen to prove that I am a citizen at the time of not that I can have to prove who I am.
No, you're wrong. It should be the burden should be on both sides. It should be on both sides.
It should not. It should not.
It should be on you. You should have enough proof of who you are that you are a citizen.
There's a difference between an ID and a citizen.
Yes.
I can prove who I am. Right?
But you have to prove.
I should not have to prove my citizenship.
Yeah, but see, Stephen is confused again.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. But you should. I think you should have to prove your citizenship, but nobody has to. You're right.
Okay,
you're right.
All right, Stephen, you're just a waste of time.
No, but I'm saying we should have to prove our citizenship.
President Trump's
at the time of voting registration, not the
FBI
time.
Director Robert Mueller's
Right.
death.
You're right.
You may remember the president posted that he was glad Mueller died. Tilla says he's not proud of the statement.
I think that's a sad statement about where we are in our political discourse, to be honest with you. I don't celebrate. I'm pro-life. I don't celebrate any death, and I certainly don't celebrate the death of somebody who you could disagree maybe on certain matters. But this is a person who served this country and deserves more respect than that.
Okay, and what's your feeling on that, Keith?
Well, if you're expecting me to justify what he said, I'm not going to do it. But I will say that I didn't have. I don't know the guy Mueller. Mueller, when he was alive, he was he was a threat to much of our liberty, and he did certain things that Trump didn't like. So Trump said, he didn't have much
serving in Vietnam?
care for him.
Yeah, like
And,
he was
that's basically it.
he was a Marine. He went to Vietnam. That
Doesn't
means
matter.
he's been in first.
What threat
was
the other
he to
guy's
Trump?
name? McCain. So was McCain. You remember he said some harsh things about McCain.
He did say some horrible things about McCain. That's what made me another Trumper.
So again, I'm not going to try to justify.
Before you became an always
I'm
Trumper.
just going to say
No,
that
just the
these
left was
people-
that bad. The left
if you
was.
think Mueller was a hero, then great. That's your business. I
Well,
don't.
no one said he was a hero.
He was a hero.
Whether or
There's
not
a
he's a
humanity
hero,
aspect.
Okay.
because he served in
And
our
he's claimed to
military,
be a
and
Christian.
he could
But he
have.
was a hero.
Well, I answered your question. That's
Okay,
it.
I'm tired of you all talking over me.
Sorry,
I answered the
Stacy.
question.
I don't talk over y'all.
I didn't mean to, Stacy.
Yeah.
So,
My
I answered the
apologies.
question.
regardless of whether or not Robert Mueller was a war hero, regardless, he served his country as a Marine. He deserves
Uh-huh.
the respect because he could have made the ultimate sacrifice. That's all I had to say.
Right. All right.
Yeah, but
Sorry,
I could
Stacy. I
even
didn't mean
go
to step on your
further
toes.
because it doesn't matter whether
Or
he
your tongue.
served in the military or not. He's a human. And so
Right.
this pig is saying, I'm glad he's dead. Well,
Right.
somebody could say, I'm glad his mother is dead.
Right.
Who's
You're
mother?
right, Todd.
And,
No,
and the
anybody.
thing is, remember when Charlie Kirk was assassinated?
Exactly
And
where
there
I
were
was
people
going.
out there who didn't agree with him. Some people said some things as if they were glad that he had passed,
Right.
right? And what happened to them? The backlash, they had Schindler's List
Exactly.
I think I said the
created
right thing.
Right.
to go after people in their jobs because of what they said.
Yeah.
These were just private citizens. So to have the leader of the free world say that, and then you expect him to have some empathy when it comes to decisions that the office has to make when it
He
comes
does.
to life and death.
And to
turning
follow
troops
up
into
on
harm's
that,
way,
yes.
it's just not a
Well,
good look.
look, can
And
I get
to
a word
follow
in?
up on- yes,
Donald,
you
can I get a word in? Go ahead,
right
Todd.
after this, the vice president said, talking about Charlie Kirk, those people that celebrated Charlie Kirk's death, they should be fired. Now, if Stacy wants to find that clip, it's easy to find. This is what the vice president said. So they should be fired. So what should happen to Donald Trump, who celebrated John McCain's death and now who's celebrating Mueller's death?
Okay,
Should
go
he be
ahead,
fired?
Stephen.
Well, at the TPUSA funeral for Charlie Kirk, everybody was talking about love, love, love. Donald Trump said, yeah, we love. He said, I don't love my enemies. I hate my enemies. That's not a good guy. Hey, Keith, he's not a Christian. He never put his hand on a Bible. He's not one of us. He's not a good guy. And that's the problem that we have with him. We really should all collectively try to find a way to get him out of office, get us out of Iran, and then
Right.
start over with something else.
Well,
Anything.
come on now.
Because no, if he that what he had said about McCain, what he said about him, it's not
Yeah, but
acceptable.
Stephen,
Yeah.
come on. You had
You
no
know, people voted
problem
for
when
him
he
anyway
said
if
that
you gave
about John McCain. You
Yes, I
didn't-
did have a problem because
You
I
voted
worked with
for
a guy
him.
that was in a POW
You
for
voted
5
for
years.
him twice.
The reason, when he said that about John McCain, when he said that John McCain, that's when I became a never Trumper. He said John McCain was not a hero because he got caught.
Yeah, but
You
voted
were
for
100%
Trump
wrong
twice.
here. No, I was really upset about that. But what
Okay.
happened was
You made
Donald
love
Trump did well in his first term, even though it's another Trumper. I could admit he did well his first term, and he was better than Harris and Waltz. And there's nothing I could go against for that. And he didn't start any wars, and he promised he wouldn't start a wars. And he said he would do the files, the Epstein files. He would release them. If he had done everything he said he did, then I'd be fine. I'm not fine with him anymore.
He's doing everything he said he's
What
going
he
to do.
did was
While turning down
stole
the very latest developments in the war in the Middle East as the
He's
U.S. war with
promises
Iran
made,
continues
promises
to rage
shush.
on.
So
Be quiet.
Ron has more this morning from the
No,
control room.
no.
A potential deal here to reopen the
Promises
Strait
made,
of
promises
Hormuz
kept.
as gas prices remain sky high, especially here in the Phoenix area. Good morning, Ron.
Well, it was certainly good news yesterday with the price of oil went down about $10 a barrel at one point in the day's trading. It has since bounced back up, giving up some of what yesterday was gained. Right now it's down it's up about $3 to $4 a barrel. Gas prices here at home, though, still going up. Strait of Hormuz, that trade route, essentially closed since the initial attacks on Iran over 3 weeks ago. Iranian leaders dismissed the president's claim that any negotiations are taking place, but there are multiple reports that the leader of the Iranian parliament is the one who has been talking, or at least dealing with a go-between between Iran. Israel has vowed to keep striking Iran and Lebanon, even as the U.S. works toward a possible deal.
They want peace. They've agreed they will not have a nuclear weapon, et cetera, et cetera.
but we'll see. If you want proof that Iran endangers the entire world, the last 48 hours have given it. They have now the capacity to reach deep into Europe. They already have fired on a European country, Cyprus. They are putting everyone in their sights.
In fact, there are new questions about what Iran may have done with its missile systems to lengthen the amount of miles they can travel airborne, perhaps with the ability to reach a number of European cities like Paris and Berlin. So that's raising new fears this morning in Europe. Iran has threatened to continue to hit vital infrastructure if the U.S. carries out its threat to hit Iran's energy power plants, although the president called that off for at least a week's worth of talks with the Iranians this over the course of you guys now over the next 4 days.
All right, well, let's hope something happens.
Can't possibly deliver. You guys have to be held accountable, to be honest with you. There was no path for the SAVE Act in its current form. I support voter ID. I've got voter ID bills with my signature on it as Speaker of the House. It was a priority for me. But this bill is not ready for prime time. It doesn't address absentee ballot voting in a way that many Republican states would like for it to.
I'm telling you, the SAVE Act is not going to pass currently. They have to change the rules of the Senate for that to happen.
There's nothing in there that's going to help get the Save America Act passed, right? I mean, we're busting our butt to do what the public wants us to do. We've got to secure elections. We need to secure a border. We need to get criminals out of our country. We got to secure elections. We're going to do all those things together.
I'm open to every means available to us to make sure that our elections are secure. And so if that takes the shape of reconciliation, that's an option. But I think we need to spend the requisite time on it to get it done.
This has gone on between the SAVE Act and the shutdown at DHS. We're going into well over a month, and we're stuck. I mean, we're talking over each other. It looks like a circus without a tent. Looks like the Hindenburg ran into the Titanic.
Okay,
We're not
bye.
making progress.
Yeah, you elect a clown, you get a circus. That's all of them.
All right. Let's start our roundtable because we're out of time. Let's start with Keith, then Stephen, then Ogunna, then Cousin Todd. We will discuss this, but we're going to do it during our roundtable.
Not this. Didn't we want to talk about the airplane crash that happened?
You can talk about during the roundtable. This is the roundtable.
Okay, I thought so. We talk about both things then.
We're going to talk about three things now.
Okay.
SAVE Act, right?
Uh-huh.
We're going to talk about the war and the gas prices.
Okay.
And anyone who wants to, and we're going to talk about Joe Kent because Stephen wants to talk about Joe Kent. But we're out of time. We're out of time. You guys talk nonstop, and then the time goes. It's only an hour. But let me.
Well, that was Cousin Todd. He's got diarrhea of the mouth.
Saying Iran posed, quote, no imminent threat to the U.S. Late today, the president lashing out after Joe Kent, his hand-picked director of the National Counterterrorism Center, quit his post. Tonight, President Trump also furious. NATO allies are refusing to help protect the critical Strait of Hormuz more than 2 weeks after President Trump started the war. And tonight, Iran now confirming its national security chief has been killed in an Israeli airstrike. And a short time ago, the images coming in, flames rising from the U.S. embassy in Baghdad. What we've learned, Iran-backed groups hitting multiple targets. Rachel Scott leading us off here with this high-level resignation tonight and President Trump's response.
Tonight, the administration's top counterterrorism official resigning in protest over President Trump's war with Iran, declaring Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation. Joe Kent, director of the National Counterterrorism Center, writing, I cannot in good conscience support the ongoing war in Iran. It is clear that we started this war due to pressure from Israel and its powerful American lobby. Kent accusing Israel of a misinformation campaign to deceive Trump into believing that Iran posed an imminent threat to the United States, and that should he strike now, there was a clear path to swift victory. This was a lie. President Trump, who has long supported Kent's political career, despite Kent's controversies and past associations with anti-Semites, today brushing off his resignation.
And I always thought he was a nice guy, but I always thought he was weak on security, very weak on security. I didn't know him well.
Today, the top Democrat on the Senate Intelligence Committee, Warner, saying Joe Kent's record is deeply troubling, But on this point, he is right. There was no credible evidence of an imminent threat from Iran. It comes as the president lashes out at America's NATO allies for refusing his demand to help reopen the Strait of Hormuz, more than 2 weeks after President Trump launched the war himself. Germany declaring it's not our war.
We can't be at every place to support a war which we didn't start it.
From the UK, a similar message. And today, French President Emmanuel Macron
Nous ne sommes pas partie prenante au conflit.
saying France will never take part in operations to open or liberate the Strait of Hormuz in the current context.
I think NATO's making a very foolish mistake.
After calling for Europe's help, tonight the president saying he doesn't need it after all.
Well, we don't need too much help, and we don't need any help, actually.
The president clearly.
Okay, now you guys get to talk. Start with Keith, then Stephen, Ogunna, and Cousin Todd. Keith.
Well, I'm going to go with this article in Section 4.
You should
Article,
probably give him
1,
the topics.
Section 4.
I already gave him the topics.
Yeah, she already said it. ID, voter ID. So in voter ID, I'm talking about voter ID here. The Congress has the power to regulate. And this is what Section 4 of Article 1, the times, the places, and manners of holding elections for senators and representatives shall be prescribed in each state by the legislature thereof. So, legislature of that state, that's fine. However, it says, but the Congress, that's talking about the U.S. Congress, may at any time, by law, make or alter such regulations. Therefore, I am for the Voter ID Act. It is constitutional, and it ought to be regulated. And we ought to say, you vote on one day, and no more votes to be turned in after that deadline.
No mail-in ballots?
Should be no mail-in ballots, except for the people who are in military, who are, can't get to that place from military, or people who are overseas serving, or people who are sick and can't get there. I just said it. People who are sick.
Students, he said.
Yeah, but how would you know that? How does anybody know that?
Wait, one thing at a time. Finish with the students, college students who don't live at home. Go.
College students who don't live at home, too bad.
Oh, so they can't vote?
If you're not at home. Sorry.
What? That's ridiculous.
That's crazy.
I mean, why would you?
If you're not at home, you can't vote. Or if you want to be there, make sure that you be there. Then.
And this is how totalitarian governments start, because you start trying to take away people's rights to vote. It should be easy for anybody to vote. We have the technology. I mean, it's like you want to use muskets. We have.
All right,
we can vote anywhere. You have the capability.
The existing
unless
law.
You don't want people to vote because you're afraid.
The existing law. The existing law already provides for that. We've been doing it since before COVID.
If I'm in Alaska going to school, I should be able to mail in a ballot if I'm a resident of South Carolina. Why should I be there?
Yeah,
All
right. You gotta let it go. You gotta let it go, Ogunna. It's not even an argument to have.
What do you mean it's not an argument to have?
Because it's so obvious.
Oh.
It's so
Whatever
obvious.
the law says. Well,
right, no, it's what Ogunna's saying is right. There's no argument.
Whatever the law.
Right, there's no argument.
You want to talk about
it's been settled. It's settled. Joe Kent came out and told the truth about this administration, said Iran had nothing for us to invade them. And of course, we all know that. And just like 9/11, there was no weapons of mass destruction. We all know that. We all know 9/11 was a farce. We all know that. We all know this is a farce. What they want to do is totally wipe them out the way they did Palestine. They want to completely wipe them out, just flatten it out and build their own towers, build their own cities. Let me talk. That's what they want to do. So now that Joe Kent, who's in charge of everything, about the FBI now, the FBI wants to investigate him. The FBI doesn't want to investigate anything. Kash Patel is the biggest joke that ever lived. Never wants to investigate anything, but you go against the establishment. Now they want to investigate you. And Joe Kent served his country, but did 11 tours. He's a good man. He lost his wife in war. We need to install him as president. We need a regime change. We need to take Joe Kent, put him as president, take Donald Trump out of there, because our country, all we've done for decades and decades and decades is regime change. And we've ruined every country with everything we've done. Venezuela we're doing. Wait a minute, real quick. We want to do it in Iran. We're going to do a regime change there. Guess what? It ain't going to work in Iran. Ogunna, I don't want to get on you, but you said when it started, you said it's going to be real easy. No, it ain't. This is Vietnam on steroids, brother. And I told you that day, I said, we don't want this war. We don't want this war. So what we all need to do collectively is get out of this war. Because Iran, wait a minute.
He just keeps saying, wait a minute. And I said, wait. I said, thank you. I let you go when you said, wait a minute before.
One thing, it'll take 1 second. Iran is like Jesus Christ. And the people that are attacking Iran are Satan. That's the equivalent this here, because Iran is innocent.
That's it. That was your one thing. That's it. Paper Doll said, what if you're disabled and mail-in vote is your only option? How would you vote? All right, Ogunna.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So
what population is that? What's the number of
populated? This goes back to what Stephen had previously said about Israel, just having carte blanche around U.S. policy. Joe Kent, I'm not a big fan of him, to be honest with you. He represents part of the MAGA that was a never, forever war type thing. But if you look at what happened, and the interesting thing is how the president described him after the fact. He said, I didn't really know him. Well, he said the election was stolen, and he was a forever MAGA guy, right? So he knew him. And then he said, well, I don't think he was very good at his job. Okay, well, you're the one that gave him the job, and you pushed forward his nomination. Then he said, well, he wasn't very good at it. So all this stuff he's saying is a reflection of himself, because at the end of the day, it was a bridge too far for him, for Kent. And you saw what happened when he lost favor with the president, because he's like, you're jumping ship. You're making me look bad. Okay, I'm gonna distance myself from you too, because you should have been on board. It's about loyalty, not about principle. And so when you look at what Joe Kent is saying, and look at his segment within the MAGA party, is this schism that's happening with those and within MAGA that do not want Israel dictating U.S. policy. And more you're starting to see, we went to war with Iran because Netanyahu was going to go in regardless. He was saying, hey, I'm going to go in there and hit him. First it was about the nukes, then it was about the missiles, then it was about something else, then it was about regime change. Israel saw that this was the time to really strike against the adversaries in the area. And everything started to fall in line. I will say this, and wrapping this up, I will say this. To my defense with Stephen, when I said, Stephen, this is going to be quick, right? We had 47 years. The talking point is we've been at war with Iran for now 47 years, all right? So now we're going in there. It's been about a month. And if we come out on this, if we come out on the other side of whatever this is, President Trump is trying to do, and you have a weakened Iran, you have opened up Venezuela.
That ain't going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
It's
not going to happen.
If you have, and then we have Greenland. If you come out 3 months from now and have all these things.
Oh my gosh!
Are you going to be back in the Trump camp? Because he's doing everything he said he was
it's not going to happen.
Okay,
Iran ain't no joke. Their Vietnam times 100 million.
And the thing is, it's different because it's a global economy. At the time, Vietnam was not a global economy. And if you look at what's going on with oil, because again, I'm interested to see if the president says, you know what, screw this oil stuff. No U.S. company should be able to sell on the open market. All U.S. companies have to sell domestically. And
that's not who he is.
If he says that, oil prices will drop tomorrow because now you can no longer. It doesn't matter because and he's hitting towards it because he's like, you know what? We really don't need the Strait of Hormuz.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
It's helping Europe. It's helping all these things.
It's more than just oil that goes through there.
You have Venezuela, you have Nigeria, and you have U.S. Drill, baby, drill. We can make enough oil for ourselves. Why are we worried
No, we
about
can't.
100%
No, we
California?
can't.
Does it take?
Okay, thank
Yes.
you. How much are you
I'm just
paying
saying.
per gallon of gas, Keith? How much, Keith, are you paying for a
We're
gallon of gas?
paying almost $8. It's about
$8
$7.
a gallon for your
Yeah,
gas.
some is 6.
All oil
Six,
is
7.
price gouging. It's all price gouging. They can cap the sale of oil tomorrow within the U.S., and we still have a lot of supply. The brokers are hedging the bets. That's how it works. Right now, we're just, again, it's smoke and mirror. That's why the markets react so quickly the way they do, is because the brokers are setting the prices.
All he does is clap.
Right
they wanna
now,
make-
Donald
No, they wanna make Trump look
is looking
bad.
for an exit. Donald Trump's looking for an exit
No, they
because he
wanna make
knows they
Trump
know
look
they
bad.
screwed up now. Our country's screwed up. We're in a
Ogunna's
deep
right.
hole. We're in a
Ogunna's
deep hole
right.
right
They
now. We
wanna
got to
make
get
Trump
out.
look bad.
Cousin Todd.
He has an exit strategy if he wants it.
Cousin Todd.
No, he doesn't.
Okay, so now a few things. To go back to the airplane crash.
And our hearts and our hearts and prayers go out to the family of those pilots who were killed. Go ahead, Cousin Todd.
As well as the emergency ambulance driver, all the people who were affected by that. Who is to blame for that? Trump isn't saying anything about that.
It was the air traffic controller. They screwed up.
Really?
Go ahead, Cousin Todd.
Yeah.
Well,
They told the fire truck to go. It's clear,
Okay,
go.
well-
They should have paid attention where the plane was, I think. That's just my
Duffy is
opinion.
in charge of this.
Oh,
Duffy,
you mean, yeah.
the reality star, who is also a DIY hire,
Mm.
along with Kash Patel, who's another DIY hire,
Oh,
along
wow.
with the war czar, who is another DEI or DIY
Yeah,
hire.
I think they need to get rid of Pete. And I think they need to go back to the Department of Defense, not the Department of War. And I think the Beardos can come back.
Why are you
Oh,
talking?
I'm sorry, Stacy. I'm sorry. I was just conversating. I'm sorry. I'll mute myself.
So these DIY hires should be fired. Trump himself is a DIY hire. So, thing is this, these people are unqualified. We've had more crashes at airports than ever before in the history of America under Donald Trump. What is happening here where people are afraid to even fly? So anyway, that's because he's hiring all these DIY people. Now, to the war, they described it right. Israel got dumb Trump into this war because he was dumb and naive. No other president would listen to Israel about going to war. No other president. They said no, and that's it. He's the only dumb, and Benjamin Netanyahu played him like a fiddle because he knew he was dumb. And so just like Trump knows his audience, so does Benjamin Netanyahu. He knew how dumb he was and that he would fall for this. Now, Keith is still on Trump's side no matter what he does. Now, I don't think Keith knows that his wife, who has been married to him for many, many years.
Happily.
Oh, come on now. I mean, yeah, right. Would have a problem voting because her license would not be enough because you didn't listen to Trump. That her license has Keith's name on it, his last name. She can't vote like that. She has to prove that she's a United States citizen and the name that she was born with has to match. This is what they don't tell you. This is the confusing part. This is why Staci was saying, if she were married, those last names aren't matching. See that? So go find your birth certificate and go get a passport. Now, Keith, do you have your passport? Of course not. So now you have to go, you and your wife, go get a passport. So this is work for you, and it costs money, whether you know it or not. That's called a poll tax.
Keith has never flown.
My wife has hers.
Keith doesn't
My
fly.
wife has hers.
Yeah, Keith doesn't
No,
fly.
I don't go out.
We
I
are
don't.
out of time. Thank you.
She's
thank
got to
you,
I'll
have
tell you
that
one
and her
thing,
birth
though.
certificate.
My wife's been voting for 50 years, and she has never had a problem.
Exactly.
Never had a problem.
Until Trump. Now there's
she
a
can't
problem.
vote.
That's
She
what
doesn't have
we're
a
trying
problem.
to tell you. Not a problem.
What's the problem?
She's got to get a birth certificate.
All right, thank you. We're out of time. To our first responders in our communities, you make our lives livable. Thank you, thank you, thank you to our women and men of the U.S. military for all that you do. We are forever indebted.
Yeah.
And the possible sacrifice you make, we are forever indebted. On behalf of Ogunna, the voice of reason, Keith, the constitutional conservative,
American Tiger,
Stephen,
American what?
the independent thinker,
Independence.
and my cousin Todd.
the Staci scarf.
Wow, I didn't even see that. I dig that.
Yeah, man, that's Versace. That's Versace do-rag. Not a blood or a crip. He's a
Let's keep this
Versace.
conversation going on Facebook, X, Stephanie Stallworth, the Flow Television Network. You can check us out there. Check us out on Twitch. Check us out on Instagram. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Sporlitiks, YouTube at Sporlitiks. Check us out on TikTok. I think you'll find a lot of quick little quirks from our show on TikTok, and we can be found at Sporlitiks.com on TikTok. And did I miss any other social media outlet that we're on? I think I covered them all.
Stephanie Stallworth, did you say that?
Yeah, she said that first.
Okay.
Yes. So we won't see you next week. It is the holiday week, the Holy Week. And
oh, holy moly.
Pray for us.
Ogunna's going to be out of town. No, Ogunna is not available. So we're just going to not have a show because Ogunna's not available.
Yeah, pray for us. Everybody pray. Pray for God bless us, everyone.
All right. And we'll see you the week after that. Good night.
One thing I wanted to ask Keith, why do you want your wife to have to be bothered? Do you know a lot of people don't have passports? So now everybody is summoned to get a passport. Everybody has to go find a birth certificate.
Why do you say that everybody has to have a passport? And has to have a passport to prove that they're a citizen.
How else are you going to prove if you don't have that? What do you call that new driver's license that they're making?
I have it. Yeah, I have it right here.
What about people that don't have it? I don't have it.
Then get it. Get a driver's license.
You see that? Then get it. My driver's license.
Yeah, but that's like a nation. That's like a national driver's license, right? That's a national driver's license.
Yeah.
You really just want a state driver's license, not a national driver's license.
But the point is, my driver's license doesn't expire till next year. Why are you forcing me to do all of these things?
Well, I don't know what you're talking about. This is a
I know
driver's
you
license.
don't. I'll explain it.
My driver's license is good all over the
Trump
country.
wants less people to vote. Therefore, he's putting all these hoops, just like they did when they wanted you to count the marbles in a jar.
No, he just wants citizens to vote. He wants
all
American
citizens vote. No. Did you remember the number I gave you? 0.0003%.
And you believe that?
Why don't we do like in other countries where you have to dip your finger in something and put that on a thing and it lasts for like 3 days on your finger? Why don't we do that?
Stephen, let's be realistic. Let's try to be normal. Stay out of the alcohol.
Why would it work? But what does she have to do? You were saying that if the women need to vote, they need to go get some kind of proof of what paperwork did you say, Todd?
Their married name. He was saying they have to get proof of their married name if they're using maiden name on.
Right. Well, what is it? It's actual. What actual paperwork is it called?
I don't know
That's your birth certificate.
Right. Okay. I went and got a birth certificate, and it took me like 15 minutes. Why would it hurt any woman to go get her birth certificate if it takes 15 minutes?
But why would you have to?
Yes. Why do you?
I'm
have
just saying
to
if that
do
becomes
all these
part, if that becomes part of
you're
the deal.
registered,
But you know, Keith has to get his birth certificate because he took his wife's name.
Okay,
if
so
you're
we have a
registered to
viewer
vote
down.
already, you shouldn't have to bring your
Yeah.
birth certificate
And,
to
and
vote.
this is deliberate so that nobody
If
will
I'm
vote.
registered to vote, I shouldn't have to prove my citizenship.
No, but Keith's wife would vote for Trump, or I would assume. So it would hurt everybody equally, right?
But
So we
that's
have a
the
viewer.
problem.
We have a
That's the
viewer that
problem.
says,
Is it to win the election or is it to give people access to the voting booth? If you're trying to
Right.
give people access to the voting booth, which is their right if they're a citizen, you should be trying to make things easier, not more difficult.
Yeah, I believe it. Make things
The
easier.
burden-
However we can make it easier, let's figure it out. Yes.
And the burden is on the government to prove
you
that
sound
you're
like
not a
you're
citizen, not
crazy.
for you to
No,
prove
I'm
that
not. I'm just trying to figure out
You
what's the
don't
best way
know
to go.
that stop it, Stephen. You don't realize that he's trying to make it difficult for people so that they won't vote?
That Trump is
up.
trying to make it hard for people so they won't vote.
Oh my God.
That's
I
a
mean,
funny
people don't
kind
like
of
to vote
conclusion.
anyway. People don't like voting. All right.
Right.
Okay, let's
Voter
talk about
turnout
what
in this
happened in
country
Texas.
is very low.
You're
So-
right about that, Aguna. Aguna's
So it's
right
like,
about that.
you know,
Right, but if things keep going the way they are, the voting rolls are going to get lower. People are going to start voting a lot less.
That's what he wants.
Because but you know what? I would vote for him and people like him, but I'm going to vote less because I voted for him to do 100 things he said he was going to do, and he didn't do but 90. He did one of 99.
Okay.
No,
Okay. Well, you were
doing
licking behind him,
99% what he said
saying
he
he
was
was
gonna do, Stephen.
great.
Right, he said right. I was
doing
fighting
99%.
everybody for Trump, but when he went against everything I wanted, he said he wants to start a war. He started World War III. He said he was going to release the Epstein files. He didn't
Hey,
release the
Staci,
Epstein
whoa.
files.
Who's that
He
on the
did
air?
release them. We just didn't
so
release them
no,
all.
we had
No, we
somebody.
didn't see anything. We didn't
I
see
want to hear
enough.
from Nas. I want to hear
Stevie,
from
somebody
Nas.
it's not Nas. Somebody's viewing the
Oh.
show, and they said another addictive show. Quote of the night: piggyback off of Senator Kennedy's circus without a tent. Description of Washington: elect a clown, and you get a circus.
That's right.
Wow.
So
So
someone.
let me ask you,
said that.
Stephen, knowing what you know now, would you still vote for Trump in this past election?
No, I would have voted for the Green Party. I wouldn't have voted for either party.
So you
I would have
wouldn't
voted for the.
So then Trump.
If
would
I
have
knew what
won,
I knew now, I would not have
Hey,
voted for
hey.
Trump, and I would have worked hard to persuade people. If I had I could see into the
Okay.
future,
All
I would
right.
persuade
All right.
people don't vote for him because what he did was hideous. He
Stephen.
doesn't care about. He
Stephen.
doesn't care about the people of this country. He doesn't care at
Neither
all.
do you,
He doesn't
Stephen.
care 1% about the
Neither do
American
you.
people. He is not MAGA. Donald Trump is not MAGA. So don't be mad at other people for leaving MAGA because Donald Trump is not MAGA. When you get rid of him, when you get rid of Trump, we can start make America great again with
Okay.
people like Todd and Keith and Ogunna
Okay,
and Staci. We
Stephen.
can all get together
Okay,
and come with ideas that work.
look
We
at
got to
this
stop the division because this ain't working.
Okay,
The
but
division,
Stephen-
wait a minute. The division
I'm
in this
leaving.
country gave us Donald Trump right now. The
No,
strong
you did.
division
You
gave us
voted for
Donald
him.
Trump. We
You
don't need
voted
any
for him.
division. We
But
need
Stephen,
unity
I
amongst the
support
people.
Trump.
We need
I
unity.
support Trump.
We need. I know because you're brainwashed right now. You can't get out of it. You can't see with your eyes.
Look.
You can't see. I
How
know.
did
I
you
was
learn
where
how
you
to
were,
see?
man.
Stephen,
I'm not
I
putting
mean-
you down.
Stephen, you have to admit, though, like I said, if you look at a month from now, let's say a month from now, you have a free and liberated
We're not going to
people.
have all of that.
You have Venezuela, who's on who's we're controlling.
I know. I'm
And
just
you
saying.
have an Iran who is a lot less of a threat than it was before, right? Because you've gotten rid
No,
of its
it's
navy.
not.
you got
No.
rid of the
No,
missiles,
it's
you got rid of
not.
all that
No,
stuff.
no, but no. You say
Yeah.
Iran is less of a threat. They're not.
They're more of a
Iran,
threat now.
Iran is the man. We are the little bitch. I was on my knees praying for Donald Trump, and he stabbed me in my back as I was
Okay,
praying
you
for
already
him.
said that.
He is done.
Come on.
Donald Trump is done. MAGA
All right.
is done.
Okay.
There's no way
Oh,
you
you
start a
haven't
war.
seen-
There's no way you
they're
start a
he's
war the
gonna
way he did.
He's going to occupy that island in the Persian Gulf. He's going to occupy that little oil thing because he's sending the
The
Marines.
Biden administration didn't do this. Obama didn't do this. Trump
Why
did this.
not?
He got because the administration at the time was smart enough. But you know what they told Donald Trump? You're going to be the best president ever. Nobody's ever gone to Iran. You better do it. That's what Benjamin Netanyahu told him. You better go invade Iran. And that's why he did it. And he's got Kushner and that other guy, and he doesn't listen to. All of his people said, do not go into Iran. And all the people said, do not go into Vietnam, and they went to Vietnam. Everybody said, do not go into Vietnam, and they did. And all of Trump's people said, do not go into Iran, because Iran ain't no joke. Iran is better than we are, and they have China, and they have Russia. All we have is babyface Israel, and babyface Israel ain't coming to fight with us. We're putting their troops in there. We're putting their troops. Israel ain't putting their troops in there.
Okay.
So Kushner went over there and said, "Hey, look, we're going to offer you a deal. You give us all your nuclear material."
He said what they want to do is wipe them completely out, like it did Palestine. They want to wipe them. They're going to wipe Iran completely out.
You gotta let the companies access. You sell your oil in U.S. dollars. You give our U.S. companies access to help you make civil, use nuclear power for civilian purposes. You just got to give us access to your country. And they said no, so they struck them, right? And so now, after all dust is settled, they may still have that same deal on the table. It may be a matter of getting access to the Iranian markets.
They will not have that deal on the table. Obama made the deal, and Trump tore it up. So now what Iran is going to do is bomb the United States.
They don't have to bomb the United States.
I don't know.
They're not going to bomb the United States.
You justify everything Trump is doing. If they do that, you justify everything Trump is doing.
They're going to quietly bomb, just like they did 9/11. They're going to quietly bomb somewhere in Texas, California.
9/11 was an inside job, Todd. The Muslims didn't do it.
I'm talking. So what they're going to do, they're not.
They're not. They're not going to affect the United States. If anything happens in the United States, it's a false flag.
Okay, I'm leaving because
Iran doesn't need to do anything in the United States. Iran is going to kick Israel's ass.
Stephen, you won't let anybody finish their point.
I did.
You ran Todd off, man. But Todd was saying that there's going to be a terrorist attack probably this summer because they're going to do it. But the reason why I don't agree with Todd is because if you do that, that means you're going to justify a lot what President Trump is doing.
Right.
And the response.
But he said they could do it just like 9/11, and that's a lie. 9/11 was a lie. 9/11 was the biggest lie this country ever went through. We killed 3,000 of our own people, and we killed millions of innocent Muslims. And we said they were terrorists, and they're not. Our hands got blood all over them. Iran is a good guy right here. Iran believes in God. Iran believes in God. Israel believes in Satan.
So do you believe that Iran should be able to have a nuclear weapon?
Absolutely. I said that on the show years ago. I said Iran should have any weapons they want because we have this mutual, it's a mutual thing to a certainty.
Destruction?
That's right. But why can't they? Pakistan has it. North Korea has it. China has it. Israel has it. Israel's committing a genocide, but they can have nuclear weapons. Iran has never gone against anybody. Iran is an innocent country. Iran has never committed a genocide. Iran's never gone outside. And don't say Iran, like I said earlier, Iran in this case is Jesus Christ, and everybody else is Satan. Iran is a country right now.
Their current regime is killing their own people, Stephen.
Who? Iran?
Yes.
If Iran wants to, that's in-house. That's in-house. If people want to kill, China kills their own people. China kills their own people. Do we go in there? We kill our own people in this country. Do people invade us? Every country kills their own people. And a lot of people that they say they were protesting, a lot of that was Israel undercover people. That wasn't real. Everything Israel does is a false flag.
Thank you. Good night.
9/11 was a false flag.
Happy holidays.
Y'all have a good night.
Peace and love, man. Peace and love. Love y'all.